I miss you guys. It's been a while, but I'm back. Today's topic, I just wanted to touch on mental illness and first responders. Um, in the U.S. right now, it is a high rate of people with mental illnesses being killed by police officers. Usually because police officers, most of them are not fully trained to handle mental health crises. So in a case where a police officer is not fully equipped to handle a crisis like that, if you have a person who is acting out, they feel like you feel like they're gonna harm you or harm someone else around you, your first instinct as a police officer is to shoot them, because you have to protect yourself, you have to protect people around you. You just feel like you have no choice but to do that. On the other hand, for people like me, people who deal with mental health people, we know that it's certain ways you have to go about detaining a person or de-escalating a situation, and it's almost never a situation where you have to kill a person. It's certain ways you can go about it, even if they have a weapon. Unless, they have their weapon at you and, you feel like they're ready to shoot you, you shouldn't have to kill a person. Because most of those situations are a person crying out for help, a person needing help, a person in distress, a person that's going through something. And most times you can always talk to a person. You can talk a person down. You can get the person to go to the hospital. You can just really just calm them down, where it's not necessary to kill them. So it's been many situations here in the U.S. where police have been killing people, unarmed people, even people who are armed, just feeling like that was their only chance. And these police officers are getting off with killing people. And you have families out here of people with mental illness who have been killed, and they're going strong because we are people with mental illness. We are people. Just because we're acting a certain way or we're labeled to be a certain way, we're still a person. And this here video it has nothing to do with race, because I'm talking about that white guy with mental illness, that Mexican guy with mental illness, black guy, anybody who has mental illness. So this is not about race. And some of these police officers who are killing people with mental illness are black. I'm not saying it's white people killing black people. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that police officers are killing people with mental illness because they aren't fully trained to do their job. It's about 840 hours in a police academy that police cadets have to go through to finish the police academy. And those 840 hours, about 10 to 40 hours are focused on mental health, de-escalating mental health situations, a mental health crisis. It's only 10 to 40 hours out of 840 hours. Now you tell me, is that fully certified? Is that is that complete training to be able to de-escalate a situation? If you take a doctor out here, a nurse, someone who works in the hospital who just have that sympathy for a person who's going through something, I can even say a person on the street, not just anybody, but someone who can kind of understand that, okay, this person isn't acting like this for no reason. You can take these people and they will handle a situation like this better than a police officer. Police officers, I don't know. I don't know why it's like this. I don't know why they feel like they have to use such force against a person with mental illness. I know people, and this is in general, not just police officers, people view mentally ill people as a threat. Mentally ill people are not. If you met most of the mentally ill people, most of them are not harmful. Yes, when they're put to the test, they probably can be harmful, but that's with anybody. Most mental ill people are sweethearts. They just trying to figure things out. They're going through so much mentally, and it's something they can't control, something that's out of their control, and they're struggling. So we all need support. These people need support, and it's so much you can do to help them, especially in a crisis. It's so much you can do to help them, besides killing them. I've seen documentaries where police officers, they implemented CIT programs where they have police officers who's actually going out on mental health crisis calls, people who are certified to do these things, and they're de-escalating situations where if the person is, acting out, they won't listen, where they can detain them by, using just a little excessive force, holding their arms, getting them down, getting them in cuffs, taking them to the hospital. You also have them where they're talking to them and able to let these people willingly decide that, okay, I'm going to be seen. And those are great situations because, you really don't have to kill someone. You don't even have to grab your gun, tase them. It doesn't have to be anything physical besides, okay, we're going to have to grab him, just to get him to go, because he have to, go. He have to be seen. And I think that's a really great idea for every city, everywhere in the U.S. I think that is something that we all should be doing, because it's too many people being killed by law enforcement when they don't have to, For instance, we had a couple of situations in the last 2 years where a woman, her name was Gay Allen Placks, I believe. She was 57 years old. She was a nurse, the painter. She lived out in Short Pump, I believe. And the police had did a welfare check on her. And when they arrived at her house, she wasn't answering. Mind you, they had a hazard alert, to alert them that they need to approach with caution, because of previous incidents with this woman where, she had mental health cause. She's had over 15 police reports of, situations where police were called out to her home, and certain situations had happened. So they had every reason to approach this lady with caution, to know that it could escalate at any time. So as they went to this lady's room, they had to use I believe it was cards, butter knives, certain things to get in her room, because her door was locked. As they approached her room, it was dark, and she basically came at them with the basically an axe, I believe it was, and they shot her. I believe they shot her 3 times, I know, in the hands and in the abdomen, and she later died at the hospital. But that just goes to show, I know it's a very tough situation, because she approached them with an axe, but you went into this lady's space. I know you're doing a welfare check, but you went into her home. They didn't let you in her home. You went into her home. Not only you went into her home, you went into her room. You could have talked to this lady from outside of her room. You forged your way into her room. And she's already in a mental state where, no telling what she's thinking. They said she had been paranoid. She had recently been released from the hospital a week ahead of time. And, you just don't know what's going on in this lady's head. And, the end result is she's gone, when I feel like it could have been handled so much differently. Rest in peace to her. She was bipolar. This happened in 2009. They said the 2 officers who were in the room, one of them, he did not receive proper training. The other, he did receive proper training, but he didn't go about it the right way, basically. So yes, this lady was, she struggled. They said she had many incidents since she was diagnosed with bipolar in 2010. But she was she had, she was a nurse, she was a painter. Like, her neighbors, they said she was, a wonderful person. They could tell when she didn't speak the same when they would speak to her, they knew something was up. But, overall, she was a great person. And usually people with mental illnesses are great people. Another situation was in 2018. You may remember Marcus Davis Peters. I believe the situation happened on I-95. Don't quote me. It was off the highway though. He was 24 years old. He was a biology teacher. He taught out in Tappahannock. He was unarmed. He was naked. The police, before the situation happened, he had ran out into the highway. He was hit by a car, whether he tumbled over, and he, eventually got up and walked and, went towards the police officer. The police officer tased him, I believe, twice before shooting him. In this situation, I really feel like it was no reason for the police officer to have shot him because he was unarmed. What could he really have done? You could have tussled him, just anything, and just continuously tasing him if that was needed. But shooting him, he was unarmed. So in that situation, this man, I believe they said he didn't even have a record of mental illness, but clearly what he was doing running on the highway naked, clearly something was wrong. Clearly there was something wrong. And it, it's just, overall, I just feel like that really didn't have to go that route either. It's just too many people. Too many times people are being killed and they don't have to, I don't know if it's police taking advantage of, their authority, or they're just not trained the way they should be trained to handle certain situations. Nationwide, the police shot and killed 987 people in 2007. That's just people overall. That's how many people they killed in 2007. A quarter of those were mentally ill. A quarter of that. That's a lot of people. In 2018, 992 people were killed in 2018, and 215 of those were mentally ill. That is nationwide in the U.S. That's how many people were killed mentally ill. That's a lot, because you already have a situation where mentally ill people are at a high risk of committing suicide. So not only are we having people dying from suicide, but we have police actually killing mentally ill people. So it's like we're losing. Like, we're losing. We're trying to, we already dealing with a lot, going through mental illness, but we have to worry about, okay, this mental illness that I'm suffering with, I have to worry about going into a situation, an episode, or whatever may be happening, and I have to worry about knowing that I may be killed because I'm not in control of my actions, and someone else doesn't understand me, so they see me as a threat, so they're gonna kill me. That's wrong. I feel like something should be done more than what it is now. I feel like it's so much more that we can do as a whole to, change this situation. And I have another one, and this one is, it's sad. It's sad. It was in Houston, Texas. I had watched the video, and you can watch it. It's on YouTube. His name is Danny Ray Thomas. He was 34. He had been going through a lot. He was locked up when his wife, I believe, girlfriend or wife, one or the other, she drowned his 2 kids, and she hid them under the neighbor's house next door, something like that. But he was struggling with that, and that's something tough. If I was to lose my kids, someone was to intentionally, and that the other parent was to do something to my kids, I don't know what I would do. That's something tough. I don't know, because I'm not in the situation, but that's tough. So he was dealing with a lot. He was dealing with a lot, and he was if you watch the video, he was at an intersection, and people was recording it and ignorantly one of the people who were recording it, they were laughing, they like, they're gonna tase, just laughing, because of course you don't know that this person is mentally ill, so you think it's funny what he's doing and what's going on. So he has he's just walking, he has his pants down to his ankles and he's just walking. It's not much he can do. You can't run because his pants are all the way down to his ankle, and the police shoots him. The police just shoots him dead in the middle of the street, for no reason. That's something that if the police was to come, they could have just gave him a ticket, cited him, or whatever. It could have been something as simple as that, or take him in to be seen, or just arresting him. They shot him. He wasn't, he didn't do anything. He was just running around with his pants down. And it's that serious when you can just be shot and killed for something that simple. The police officer was tried, but he wasn't convicted. He was a black police officer. So again, this is not about race. Danny Ray Thomas was black. The police officer was black. So this is not a racial thing. This is just basically police officers killing mentally ill people. I do have a few statistics that I would like to read before I end this video. In the U.S., 1 in 10 police calls involves a person with mental illness. 1 in 10. 3% of U.S. adults suffer from a severe mental illness. They make up a quarter to 1/2 of all fatal law enforcement encounters, according to the nonprofit Treatment Advocacy Center. People with mental illnesses are more likely to be a victim of crime than the ones who commit a crime. Can you believe that? It's true. Me, I couldn't harm a soul. For real, I couldn't harm a soul. But penal systems are left to deal with folk with mental illnesses. An estimated 383,000 people with some severe mental illnesses are behind bars nationwide, and that's also according to the Treatment Advocacy Center. Only 1/10 of the number of mentally ill are in state hospitals. So that means more people are in the penitentiary, out on the streets, as opposed in the state hospitals, receiving the treatment that they need. And I would also like to focus on that. When you're put in the hospital and you don't have the insurance that you need to be seen, you can be dismissed from the hospital within 24 hours. Once you're stabilized, they will release you. They won't keep you there at the length of the time needed to be seen. And that's a whole nother video on just how the mental health hospitals, they release you. You tell them that you're going through something, and they keep you for at least maybe 24 hours, or if they don't have beds, they release you. And there's been many situations where people have been released and they commit suicide or something terrible happens. And who's to blame for that? The hospital. Officers spend 21% of time responding to and transferring people to for mental health issues. Police receive approximately, I already said this, but again, police receive approximately 840 hours of instruction at police academies, and on average, only 10 to 40 of those hours are devoted to mental illness. So with all these facts, we can just see that the system is failing us. The system is failing us as a whole. I do hope that things will change. The stigma on mental health will be lifted. People will learn to understand. People will do their research. People will try to reason and just, look at mental illness as something that is here. It's something we can't just ignore, and it can happen to any of us. It can happen to our family members, and it's like mental ill people are no different from you, your brother, anybody that you love. We're no different. So you just have to accept it for what it is, and just try to educate yourself, educate others, because you know nobody wants to be killed. Nobody wants to see anyone else killed, especially if it's a friend, a family member. You know, like I said, it can always hit home. So I just say do your part to make sure, you know, that you're not a part of this whole stigma. Of course I advocate and I'm against stigma. Mental health, that's my thing, that's my life, and I'm gonna go hard for it. So that's it. That's all I have to say. I want to thank you all for watching. Take a time to watch. Thanks for subscribing. For those who have not, please subscribe, like, turn on your notifications, and just please bear with me because I have lots more interesting things to give you. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.